Well, I want to start with you. From what you're hearing on the ground there in Vienna, how close are these two sides at this point?
Well, they're closer than they've ever been. I mean, it sounds facile, but that actually is true. The United States is really adamant that Iran needs to stick by the framework agreement that they came to on April 2nd in Lausanne, Switzerland. It was very hard getting there, coming to all the agreements about the kinds of nuclear curbs, the way they would have to redo nuclear plants and a heavy water reactor in order to make them, within what the IAEA considers is only for peaceful use. So what they seem to be quibbling about now is the future of how they are going to verify the past military dimensions of Iran's program and how they're going to answer the questions in this 12-year-old file that the UN Atomic Energy Agency has not yet been able to ascertain or satisfy themselves.
All right, now I want to bring in Bill Cohen, the former defense secretary. Bill, there's been a lot of criticism that perhaps President Obama has been a little too eager to try to strike a deal here. What's your take? Is this a good deal that Indira says we are closer than ever to signing?
Well, we still don't know whether the Iranians are going to agree to the deal or the outline that they agreed to just back in April. And so I think it's too early to say. But President Reagan used to say, let's trust but verify. I think in this particular case, we have to say, let's verify and then trust. Because the way in which the Iranians have conducted a covert program for so many years, I think it's incumbent on Iran to earn the trust before they can say our verification regime is okay. So I think we've got a way to go, and that way to go is they can't walk back from what they agreed to in April in Lausanne. If they do that, then I think President Obama has to simply close up shop, walk away, and say we'll stick with the sanctions that are imposed and actually try to increase them if that becomes the case. Because once they walk away from the negotiation, Iran's going to be free to try to continue to accelerate its nuclear weapons program. So that means there'll be a counter-reaction by the 5+1 and possibly Israel, possibly the United States. So it's very dangerous. I think Iran has got to come forward and say, this is what we agreed to in April. We're going to now certify and solidify that, and we're going to allow you to have inspections from time to time or whenever necessary on military sites or any other site that the International Agency inspection would require.
Indira, Secretary Cohen is bringing up there what Iran is saying. What's your reading on what Iran is saying? There was this press conference in Tehran in the past week where we saw Khamenei, the supreme Ayatollah there, come out, and it seemed like he was sort of backtracking on some of the concessions that his nuclear negotiators had already agreed to. Is the Iranian government changing their position?
Look, it was last Tuesday when Ayatollah Khamenei made that speech in which he laid out all sorts of red lines that completely reversed the commitments that Iran had already made inside the negotiating room on April 2nd in Switzerland. So Secretary Cohen is right. The Obama administration has to hold them to what they already agreed to. There can be no backsliding. But the EU foreign policy chief, Federica Mogherini, who you showed some tape of her earlier, not only did she say that she feels a deal is coming in the next few days that she feels would be a good deal, she also was asked, is there backsliding on the part of the Iranians? And she said no. The other thing I wanted to say is that the Obama administration says that they take Reagan's moniker, Reagan's phrase, and turn it on its head. They say distrust and verify. So they're very much, they're saying, committed to making sure that they get a good deal or they're ready to walk away.
And indeed, Indira, you're 100% right. That is what I heard President Obama say a few months ago when he first announced the outline of this deal, distrust and then verify. Secretary Cohen, just want to wrap this up with you. Do we have a plan B here? If not, what should it be?
Plan B would be to go back and intensify sanctions in the wake of Iran. If it's perceived that Iran is the one that's holding up this deal, that they're the ones who are now backtracking, that they are not allowing the kind of inspections that would satisfy those who are concerned about the program, then I think we're back to intensifying sanctions. I think Iran is then on a plan to try to accelerate its program, and it's not a very good direction for Iran or for the rest of the world. But that may be where we're headed unless Iran agrees to conform to what they already agreed to.